Hello. There is so much to get to on this new episode of the CHGO Red Stars podcast presented by Coors Light, the official domestic beer partner of Chicago Fire FC. Chicago, choose chill. Go to CoorsLight.com/CHGO soccer to get Coors Light delivered straight to your door. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. I am your host, Alex Campbell, and I am joined for a second time this season by Lesley Ryder of Gal Pal Sports. Lesley, thanks for coming back and helping me dive into what has been a very, very busy few weeks for better and for worse in the world of the Chicago Red Stars.
Yeah, thanks for having me back. There is much to explore.
There is much, and that's why we are going to get right into it. The Red Stars have played 3 NWSL League games since we last convened the podcast. 1 loss followed by 2 wins. I guess, Lesley, we have to briefly touch on that 3-1 kind of battering at the hands of the North Carolina Courage that started well because, the give it to Mal and hope she does something cool plan worked real well. Credit to, I believe it was Tatum Milazzo taking a really quick throw-in. Mal dribbles a long way. Mal scores. But then the Red Stars just get absolutely hammered in the rest of this game. And it felt like, at the time, spirits were not high. And it felt like the perfect distillation of there is Mal, but then oftentimes there isn't a whole lot of things that aren't Mal.
Yeah, it was a really weird time because this was also, I think it was right after they tied Kansas City 2-2, and it was just like, are we back? Are we so back? And
No.
It's like they were just plugging different holes and different problems because it was like they couldn't get off to a good start, and then they started scoring goals within the first 5 minutes of matches, but then they couldn't finish it. So it was a bit of a tumultuous period, but you're gonna have those in a season.
Yeah, this made it 5 straight games without a win, so that did not feel particularly good, which is why the next game they played felt just freaking unbelievable. Chicago Red Stars 3, San Diego Wave 0. I guess we'll call this a kick it while they're down game because although they have started to maybe sort things out at the time, this was the week where San Diego was just a complete mess. Casey Stoney was fired. There was no real good explanation given, and then she posted a strange Instagram message that seemed to imply she was surprised and that, like, there were other things going on. And then we got a bunch of people accusing Jill Ellis of a toxic workplace culture, which, if you've been a women's national team fan for even a semi-decent amount of time, you've heard that one before. So anyway, it was kind of it was a messy week for San Diego. They have not been good. We were also deprived of Danny Colaprico Derby because she was injured, and without her, that they don't basically have anybody in midfield who knows what defense looks like. And boy did it show in this game. It took a while. The Red Stars scored in the 42nd minute via a collector's item, a Naomi Girma own goal technically, but it is created by Mal Swanson, and this is just the sort of thing of why they give the ball to Mal theory and just hope for something good is so fun, because occasionally you're going to get stuff like this where arguably the best center back in the world ends up scoring a goal for you.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very interesting moment of just shots on goal, good things are going to happen, and it did. It got him started, and we got some lovely other first points after that. I'm sure if you were gonna go, but Jamise Joseph getting her first assist and her first goal, seeing everyone so happy for her, like that was just terrible time for San Diego, but what a lovely day for us.
What a lovely day for Chicago. The second half, you mentioned a couple of the highlights already. I do want to note the save in the 51st minute by Alyssa Nair. This is one of those where she clawed this out. This ball is almost in the net. This ball is behind her. Jaden Shaw, who has had a bit of a rough time of it this season with injuries and form, now off to the Olympics, of course, with a bunch of other people we've mentioned already about in this game, hits a beautiful curling shot. It's going top corner. Nair claws it out to keep it 1-0. Which sets up, about 15 minutes later, the absolute golazo that comes from Mallory Swanson. You mentioned Jamise Joseph getting her first assist. She just outmuscles Lundqvist, which looks funny because Lundqvist is kind of a stereotypical Scandinavian, kind of tall, pretty muscular looking, and Jamise Joseph is a much smaller human being, and she just absolutely trucks her here. Finds Swanson, who cuts it onto her left foot, and just absolutely rockets one off the crossbar and in. This was very much it is Mal Swanson's world, and we are all just living in it type of goal because Kaitlyn Sheridan, no chance. Swanson on her weak foot here, just the confidence, and you mentioned we got a lot of joy in this second half, and so much of that comes from Mal. Her celebrations are just joy, and it's just kind of been so wonderful to see not only her playing well, but to see her so happy, and this goal kind of felt like the peak of that so far this season.
Yeah, and I mean, she kind of it took her a few games to get started, but when she finally hit the back of the net, she was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, no, I got goals in me. I know how that works." And yeah, it's just been really really cool seeing her hit her stride, and it feels like she's peaking at the perfect time.
Yeah, this was very much oh, hey, I remember how to do this moment. And because then 2 minutes later, we get the third to make it three. Man, this goal, San Diego fans want to forget this one very quickly. It's just a harmless long ball to nobody. Abby Dahlkemper gets her pocket picked by Joseph, who then just kind of walks around Kaitlyn Sheridan and scores. It's a big moment for Jamise Joseph. Obviously, the celebrations, the joy, it's all there. Happy for her. We're going to talk more national team later, but there is a piece of me that is a little sad in this goal because, regressions in soccer happen. Players get worse, but it's at a point where you got to feel for Abby Dahlkemper because the fall off here has been precipitous. It's the Red Stars' gain here, but it's almost hard to believe that that's a player who not that long ago was starting every game en route to winning a World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, she's had a really tough couple of years. Like, she missed a lot of time, like well over a year for having like a spinal fusion. So it's like I feel like she's still coming back to the game and just getting back into that flow. But yeah, I mean, it's always tough to see someone have to be out of the game for a while and just maybe not be the same exact person when they come back. And it's one of those things that's just like, you hope they get there, but while you're watching the journey, it's just kind of like, oh.
Yeah, and especially it's melancholy when it's like, oh, hey, look, Jamise Joseph just did this really cool thing, and that's fun. San Diego almost gets one back. 74th minute, they get a penalty. Nothing the Red Stars can do here. The shot deflects. It hits Sam Staab's hand. Whatever, it's a penalty. And then Alex Morgan hits the ball to the absolute moon. Another moment where I'm not sure if I should laugh or feel bad because she now has still, in the year of our Lord 2024, not scored a goal for anybody. Yeah, just like this is San Diego's season. This is Alex Morgan's life right now. It's another ad for Alyssa Nayer's penalty record, I guess. But like, what was your emotional reaction? Because like, I think I gasped first and then I kind of laughed, and I don't know if I feel good about myself for having that reaction.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was watching it with my wife, and I think we both were just kind of like, oh no, because like that was the week that they announced the team, and she lost her manager. Like it was not a very good week for Alex Morgan, and sending a penalty over the bar just wasn't going to pull her out of that hole.
Well, hopefully for Alex's sake, she's been drinking enough Aperol spritzes out in Italy or wherever she is with Kelly O'Hara over this last week. They seem to be having a delightful time, and so hopefully she's shaking off that rust, and we'll have a successful second half of the season. Because again, players fade and they're not as good as they get older. But it felt like she came in 2022, scored all those goals after having a kid. It was like, oh, she's gonna be fine. Like Alex Morgan's gonna go right back, and then. This is the second year in a row now where it's like she forgot how to kick a ball, and it's very bizarre and kind of sad to see a legend go out this way. So, enormous vibe shift from the NC game to the San Diego game. Briefly, also want to talk about the Red Stars 1-0 win at home over the Houston Dash, a game that was on ESPN. Always nice to get a win when you are on the worldwide leader. So we're gonna in a minute we're gonna talk more about how good Mal Swanson are. But first we have to note that Houston are just not very good, and this is one of those games where it doesn't have to be pretty. But if you're the Red Stars, you absolutely have to win this game. They managed to win this game, and in Houston, their manager is now like on a leave, but wasn't fired. But like the interim is not an interim. I don't know what's going on down there in Texas at all right now.
No, the manager is away for an illness, but it's like an undisclosed illness, and I think the last update was like he's not been cleared to be with the team. So it's one of those things where, just as someone who's been following the league for a minute, your immediate reaction is just like, okay, now what? What, like, are they hiding something? Just, can we get a little bit of transparency so we don't have to speculate? I would, just a crumb. I would like a crumb of transparency.
Another brief Houston note, though. I'm jumping ahead a bit here, but in their first Summer Cup game, Yuki Nagasato hit an absolute banger. So that's a good thing that happened. That's Red Stars relevant and good for Houston, so worth mentioning. Mal had another golazo, though. This comes in the 3rd minute of first half stoppage time. This is better than the San Diego one, I think. It's also a Jamise Joseph assist, which is another nice little bonus here. Houston just with an awful giveaway in midfield. Joseph hands it to Mal, and within seconds, she has just curled an absolutely perfect left-footed ball up and over the outstretched hands of Jane Campbell. There's the saying of like, oh, no goalkeeper, men's or women's in the world, is saving that shot. I think that applies here because this thing is absolutely upper 90. It's a rocket. And the word that comes to mind here is confidence, because if you've got a player who's going to cut onto her weak foot like that and do that, like, okay, like she's just on another planet right now. And this goal is just another reminder.
Yeah, she's absolutely cruising, and that game was everything the Red Stars could want it to be going into a really long league break. Like, you get the result, you get a goal for your star striker, 3 points. Let's go.
Move on. That's 7 goals and 3 assists now for Mal on the season in 15 games. Not too bad. I mean, the way she's playing immediately makes you ask, is she the best player in the world right now? Is anybody in better form? The answer is probably only Barbara Banda down in Orlando, which, fun fact, you get to see those two players face each other on Thursday in Nice, in France, as part of the Olympics. So that's fun. Second half of this game saw Houston take a lot of very lousy shots, and Alyssa Nair gets to up her save percentage a bit. We're going to take a look here in a moment at the NWSL standings, because I think there's a point to be made here about, they're at this break, Lesley, in the season, and it's very much a haves and have-nots sort of league right now. And I guess the Red Stars are the poorest of the haves, because if you're watching on YouTube, you can see this right now. You've got that left column: Orlando, Kansas City, Washington, Gotham, Portland, North Carolina, Red Stars, all with 23 points or more. Orlando and Kansas City and the Spirit, Gotham sneaking up there. It's top heavy. It's weird to say that the Red Stars both probably have no chance at the Shield, but also are like locked into a playoff spot, which is kind of weird because Bay FC, Louisville, San Diego, Angel City, Houston, Seattle, Utah in that bottom half of the table. The Red Stars are like perfectly mid-table all by themselves, which is like, it's not a place to have a lot of takes from, but it's like oddly kind of comfortable.
Yeah, they're in a really interesting spot on the table, just in terms of separation from the bottom and like actually being within a game's reach of that team in front of them. But what worries me about the Red Stars coming down the second half is that the teams that they play in the second half of the season, much more of them are above them in the table than below. So they still have to play Orlando again. They have to play Kansas City. Like, all those teams in front of them have another round at them, and they didn't necessarily amaze the first time around. We kind of kind of lucked out with Orlando not having Barbara Banda yet.
Yeah, and as we'll talk about after the break, the more soccer there is, the more the die can be cast not in your favor. Maybe it will be in your favor, but especially with a summer tournament over in France and the Summer Cup, you never know what we're going to get. We're going to talk about both of those tournaments after a quick break to tell you about the folks who make this show possible. CHGO Red Stars is presented by Coors Light. Between work, social media, the choices life throws our way, maybe some more unprecedented times you may or may not be living through, we're worked up a lot these days. There's lots of opportunities to choose to chill, and when you choose to chill, it's no better time than to reach for an ice cold Coors Light. Coors Light is mountain cold refreshment. It's been a very stressful week, I know, for me and for a lot of people. The sports teams aren't helping very much at the moment. The Red Stars doing better than most around here, but Chicago sports not exactly giving us a lot to be particularly excited about. And sometimes you just need to take a step back. You need to take a break. You need to relax. And you need to choose to chill. And when you choose to chill, that is when you reach for an ice-cold Coors Light. They are made for those chill moments. When the mountains turn blue, Coors Light is as cold as the Colorado Rockies. It is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a smoother finish. When you embrace a chill mindset, it's a good time to choose to chill and crack open a Coors Light, crisp and refreshing as the Colorado Rockies. Make the most out of the times you choose to chill and choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/CHGO Goal. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. CHGO Red Stars is also brought to you by Shady Rays. You can get ready for the rest of your summer adventures with quality shades built to last. Our friends over at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that will not break the bank. They're an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product that over 300,000 people have rated as 5 stars. Their shades have durable frames and crystal clear optics. They are the perfect choice for all your summer outdoor adventures. They've got hundreds of options to choose from, and you're bound to find a pair that matches your style. They probably even have a pair in your team's favorite colors. I've been a big beneficiary recently of Shady Rays and their lost or broken guarantee. I had a pair that I bought 2 years ago from Shady Rays, and I was able to go on their website, put in my email, and right there I was able to get a brand new replacement pair delivered to my door for less than $20. And I also got a deal on these shades I'm wearing now. If you're watching on YouTube, these are their 11th birthday special edition shades. Big fan of these, so you never have to sweat it if you lose your shades. If they go missing, every pair is backed by their lost or broken replacement guarantee. You can also exchange your shades if you don't love them for a new pair or return them worry-free within 30 days. Exclusively for CHGO listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code CHGO for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. All right, Lesley, we have a new tournament to talk about. If you are also an MLS or a men's American soccer fan, you might have heard of the Leagues Cup, which is starting this weekend. I don't know why this is not simply the W Leagues Cup or something like that, because it's basically the exact same tournament, but we are calling it the NWSL Liga MX Femenil Summer Cup. Yes, that is the official name. I would wish it was fewer words. We got a few notes here on what the Summer Cup is. It is all 14 NWSL teams plus 6 teams from Liga MX Femenil. Those are America, Chivas, Monterrey, Pachuca, Tigres, and Tijuana. And this is where it gets, Lesley, just, Tim Hotze and I on CHGO Fire earlier today were talking about the dumbness of Leagues Cup. Summer Cup's got some more dumbness for us because there are 5 groups with 4 teams each. But if you win your group, you might not advance, because then it's going to be the top 4 group winners will advance to the semifinals. If you have the fewest points of the 5, you don't advance. And if there's a tie, there's all sorts of silly tiebreakers. What are your general thoughts? Because on the one hand, it's nice to have something for teams to do. It's an opportunity to rotate players. Integration with Liga MX is good, and I'm sure those teams are looking for higher quality opposition to play. But again, at the same time, it just seems kind of contrived.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things that if the idea of it were like a full strength squad for everyone playing the best teams in another league, like I'm always on board for something like that. We don't have a Club World Cup yet. It's coming, but we don't really have that regular gauge of like, how does the NWSL measure up against another league? And so for this tournament, I wish there were more Mexican teams involved. It seems kind of silly to have all the NWSL and only some of Liga MX teams. And
also like not all their best teams. It's the teams that it's pretty clearly they pick the teams they think can maybe help draw crowds rather than the teams who are going to play the best soccer.
Yeah, and it's like it is like a lot of like the most popular clubs in the league, which is great. Do some outreach to the communities, but like I don't know, feels kind of like a cheap engagement kind of thing, not quite genuine. Yeah, I mean, I like it's like the Challenge Cup. I like the idea of it, but the execution of it is maybe not what we want it to be just yet.
Yeah, and again, this is the sort of thing that might resolve itself. Like MLS insists that Leagues Cup is going to keep going, but I'm not quite sure how that's going to work given the American soccer schedule for the next several summers. That applies also to this tournament because a Club World Cup is coming, a CONCACAF Champions Cup is coming. The calendar is filling, and there's only so much more calendar filling you probably want to do, and you'd prefer to fill it with games that feel like they have stakes rather than whatever exactly this is. To underline the perils of that point, Red Stars 0, Gotham 0. Gotham wins 5-4 on penalties. This was a weird game. The soccer itself was just okay. There was nobody there because I don't think many people know this tournament exists. The Red Stars did not win, nor did they get the extra point in PKs. And we're just going to skip ahead to the end of this game because there's nothing else to talk about. Sam Staab, late in this one, goes down on a total non-contact injury. It's a late free kick for the Red Stars. She takes one step and just face plants into the turf. Needed multiple teammates to help her leave the field. We do not have, Lesley, an official update yet, but anybody who's been watching women's soccer in recent years, we've seen enough of these. We know what this looks like, and it looks like it could be very bad news for Sam Staab and for the Red Stars.
Yeah, Sam Staab is an incredibly important piece of this team. The head coach, everyone in this team will talk about how they're defense first, and they traded away their number 3 draft pick to get Sam Staab here, and she's just been so present and so vital in every single match they've had so far. And to see her go down in a game of very little consequence, it is one of those things that hurts a bit as someone who enjoys watching soccer. But it's just, as someone who's been following the Red Stars this season, it's gonna have some effects. We don't know for sure what she has, but and I would be very surprised if we saw the team sheet on Saturday and it said, "Oh yeah, no, Sam Staab starting. She's the Iron Woman." So it's not great, Bob.
No, it's not great, Bob. Because I'm going to go a bit out of order here and how I wanted to talk about this, but the only other defenders on the roster: Tatum Milazzo, Natalia Kuika, Hannah Anderson, Maximilian Rahl, and Cameron Biegalski. Milazzo, Kuika, and Anderson have all played there. Taylor Malum has been in the mix a bit as well. It's just I don't like how this looks. I imagine if this is going to be a long-term thing, you got to try Kuika and Milazzo as a pair, even though Tatum hasn't really played any center back this year. I think we're kind of in a needs-must situation here as far as this goes. The only other notable thing here is that Gotham got a dog-so red card in this game for Jenna Bike getting absolutely American football tackled by Tani Lopez. It was actually on that free kick that Sam Staab gets hurt. There's also, Lesley, a bit of a monkey's paw curling element to this because I think you and I both feel that Sam Staab deserved to at least be an alternate on the team that is currently in France preparing to represent Team USA. It doesn't make sense that there was not a defender alternate on that team. If there had been a defender alternate on that team, it probably would have been Sam Staab. So I'm not looking to distribute blame here, and maybe Sam's knee gives out in USWNT training 2 days into the Olympics anyway. But it just this is just a compounding thing of she didn't get this honor that she probably was hoping for, and that those of us who have watched her play this season and over the last several years, I mean, heck, Spirit fans have been calling for Sam to the USWNT for years at this point. And it's just like beyond the Red Stars consequences that we are focused on for the purposes of this podcast, and those are significant on a personal level. God, this just sucks.
Yeah, I got to be there for Sam Staab's first cap, and she was so excited to have made the squad to be called into camp, and it just sucks. I could see the reasoning for not bringing Sam on the roster just because of the need for versatility. It's a very short roster and a very intense tournament period. I get it. But at least you knew that Sam Staab was on Emma Hayes' radar, and to have this happened to her, it sets that back, and that is extremely unfortunate. Again, we don't know yet, but yeah, it really sucks. It sucks a lot,
Yeah.
and I hope she finds her way back. I hope it's not too serious. The post game mood was pretty grim. Like Coach Donaldson was saying that he didn't know, but he's hoping for the best. And they usually only bring that one out when when there's a need for a lot of hope.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we might see a situation here where we might need the Red Stars to make a signing at center back. Speaking of signings, though, Lesley, we've got a few minutes left in this segment, and we got to talk about some positive news in recent times on the Red Stars front, and that is the announcement of the signing of 23-year-old Canadian international midfielder Julia Grosso after her 2 seasons at Juventus post-college. We might show her stats here in a minute because, Lesley, this checks every box imaginable for the Red Stars need more progression from midfield. Mallory Swanson needs some help. This signing ticks all of the boxes.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it and I say, yeah, this is exactly what they need. I think they might want to go back to the market to perhaps go shopping for a center back.
Yes.
But right now, this fixes a lot of things that the Red Stars are in dire need of. They really don't have anyone who can be in that playmaking spot, who can be a grown up, who has that vision. It's a very young team right now.
And
That doesn't have a
the
ton
thing
of
that's also
experience.
tough to see is we talk about players not maybe having the seasons we would have hoped. Shea Groom was pretty clearly signed to be this player. For whatever reason, she has not been in the team to be that player. And I think you got to view Julia Grosso as a player who might be able to come in and be the player they hoped Groom would be, but even at a higher level. I mean, 23 years old, already 63 caps for Canada. She notably scored the winning penalty kick in the Tokyo Olympics to win Canada their gold medal. So, yeah, this seems exciting. She's not going to join the team until after the Olympics with Canada conclude, which again depends on how Canada does in the tournament, but it's a very exciting sign. It's also just good to see that as more money has come into this team, the team is willing to spend that money.
Yeah, I think in the last couple of years, it's been really hard getting players to come to Chicago. We've only been seeing people leave, so just to have this signing happen feels like a good sign.
Right, and there's actually another rumor currently out in the world, speaking of getting Mallory Swanson some help. Reports in Spain saying that Brazilian international winger Ludmila, she's a 29-year-old forward who has spent the last 7 seasons at Atletico Madrid in Spain, saying that there's been a fee agreed and that she is set to become one of the one of the league's highest paid players. Nothing official on this yet. The price tag sounds kind of high, but also the Red Stars need all the attacking help they can get. Lesley, what did you think when you saw this one come across the timeline online?
Yeah, this was one where I looked at it and was just like, okay, I'm familiar with that name. I'm intrigued. But I think Kim McCauley put it best, where it's one where the numbers don't really match the eyes. Looks like an insane talent, but not particularly productive. So it's one of those things where it's like maybe she just needs the change of scenery, change of pace, and Coach Donaldson is known for bringing the best out of players. So maybe she just needs a little Coach Lauren.
Quick note on apologies for any technical difficulties if you're watching on YouTube, but shout out to Joey behind the scenes for putting out fires as we go. Yeah, to the point of Kim's tweet, I think Kim's tweet is actually how I found out about this news, because she was quote tweeting the report from Revelvo, I believe is the outlet. And while those FB ref charts we just showed on YouTube for Julia Grosso have just green everywhere, to Kim's point, Ludmila's chart does not look like that. She's a tricky winger. She's not got the same stats. She does have 59 goals in 137 games for ALLCITY, but that was fairly front-loaded. She has not been as productive a player there, to your point, maybe needing a change of scenery the last couple of years. Again, 39 caps for Brazil. So we'll have to see how this pans out. that's kind of the hot stove, though, right now for the Red Stars. But to your point earlier, feels like a center back might be needed. I don't know who might be available in league. There are only so many elite center backs to go around. It's honestly, if you look around the league, I think you'd probably find more eager partners for basically every other position, but we will see. Putting a bow on a Red Stars specific conversation for the day, they host Chivas on Friday night in Summer Cup. They then travel to Washington Spirit next Wednesday, and then the semifinals, proceed from there. Oh, one last fun tidbit if this tournament could not get any weirder. The semifinals are immediately after the group stage ends, and then the final is in like late August, and I don't know what's going on there either. Anyway, sure. Coming up next, though, we're going to talk about the Olympics. We are going to talk about the U.S. women's national team and their quest for a medal in Paris. But one more quick break with some words from our friends who make this show possible. CHGO Red Stars is brought to you by Sunnyside. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping. It's a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Sunnyside has everything you need to elevate your summer, whether you are shopping for the first time or you are a longtime fan of what they do. It's a one-stop shop for all your cannabis needs with their expertly curated menu with over 100 strains to choose from, plus easy online ordering and in-store pickup. The online experience is seamless. Their staff is extremely friendly and knowledgeable to help you when you arrive in store. Sunnyside is Illinois' favorite cannabis dispensary with locations both in the city and throughout the state. If you're getting just started out as a new shopper, Sunnyside has expert guidance and brands that they know you'll love, like Good News and Mindy's. Or if you're a pro, they've got you covered with over 100 strains on the menu. New ones are being added every week, and they know you'll love Cresco and Florical's incredible quality and consistent products. Again, it is so easy to order online, and they are there to help in store. So visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases, not just a first-time offer, your first 3 online purchases when you enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, bright buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders. Also brought to you by our friends at Ray CDJR. Make Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram your number 1 draft pick this summer to find the perfect new car for you. This July, shop a wider selection of vehicles at Ray CDJR and score new, lower prices across their huge inventory during the Make This the Summer event. For a limited time, you can lease the new 2024 Jeep Compass Latitude Luxe for only $189 a month, or shop over 125 vehicles that they have priced under $20,000. Let the amazing team at Ray CDJR help you land the perfect vehicle at the perfect price. Because with Ray's Price Promise, the numbers you're hearing now are the same prices you can expect to shop in-store and online. That's because Ray's Price Promise means no price changing, no add-ons, and no hidden fees. Since they prioritize affordability for their customers, hurry into Ray CDJR today and shop one of the Chicago area's largest inventories, and then drive home with more money in your pocket than you'd expect. So if you're in the market for a new vehicle, then you have to check out the team at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, because they are the only team that we at CHGO recommend. Visit them today on Route 12 in Fox Lake, or for more information, visit Ray CDJR in Fox Lake or raycdjr.com. Serving the community since 1963. All right, Lesley, we've got a little time left. Olympics time. Let's go. The Olympic football officially tournaments get started tomorrow with the men. The women join in on Thursday, and that's where we are interested. First, just for those who are unfamiliar, a quick rundown of the team. Alyssa Nair of the Red Stars, of course, and Casey Murphy are the goalkeepers. Former Red Star Tierna Davidson is on the defenders list, joined by Emily Fox, Naomi Girma, former Red Star Casey Kruger, Jenna Nice-Walger, and Emily Sonnet. Midfielders are Corbin Albert, Sam Coffey, Lindsay Horan, and Rose Lavelle. Forwards are Crystal Dunn, Trinity Rodman, Jaden Shaw, Sophia Smith, Mallory Swanson, and Lynn Williams. This team, Lesley, got a 1-0 friendly win against Mexico, then a 0-0 draw against Costa Rica, although I personally am not taking anything from those games because I don't think we're going to see any games at the Olympics that vaguely mimic the CONCACAF-iness that those two outings featured.
Yeah, those games were just a little weird. I think, as has been repeated by the players ad nauseum, like the goals are going to come. At least this isn't like the last Olympic cycle where it was like they every goal they put on was offside. Like they had found a way to put the ball in the net. It's just a matter of time, and I think it's a talented team. I think they're going to be okay.
Yeah, we'll get into more of that in a second. I'm also pretty bullish on this team, but we've had a day of weird tournament formats. The Olympics is kind of another one. It is 3 groups of 4, so we have 12 teams, and everybody does a group stage to eliminate 4 teams, because then we go into a quarterfinal round and so on. So the top 2 teams from each group advance, and then 2 of the 3 third-place teams also advance. USA's group, not easy though by any means. Zambia, Germany, Australia in that order. Zambia, of course, featuring the likes of Barbara Branda and Rachel Kundanaji, who have been lighting up NWSL this season. Australia, a good team, but of course without Sam Kerr due to her continued injury absence. And speaking of injury absences, maybe the most consequential one, Germany losing probably the best defensive midfielder in the world in Lena Oberdorf the other day to an ACL and MCL combo tear. All the best to her. That's really sad news. But I guess, Lesley, I just said I'm pretty bullish despite kind of the brand naming on that group. I feel like the U.S. are going to come out of this group in first place, and maybe I'm a little naive in red, white, and blue tinted glasses to say that, but where are you at here?
I'm in a similar boat. Like, just the way this team has played under Emma Hayes, it hasn't been perfect, but it has shown that it is much different than what it was last summer, and so I'm inclined to have hope. I'm more worried about Germany. I would think that given some of the results they've had and this injury to Lena Oberdorf, I'm inclined to say they're going to get grouped again.
Yeah, Germany kind of feel like they're going to end up here. Like, I was listening to another great podcast, Full Time, on the Athletic Network, and they were talking today about it feels like Zambia is going to get a result against somebody, and there's just that feeling it's going to be Germany, and that's going to be the thing that knocks Germany out of the tournament, because Zambia are a very fun team. If you're I don't even know if you can gamble on Olympic women's soccer, but if you can, the over is the move in every game Zambia play, because quite simply their attack is awesome and the rest of the team is a total sieve. They can't keep anybody out. So, it's the sort of thing where, like, if you told me the U.S. is going to win that game 8-3 on Thursday and Barbara Band is going to score a hat trick, like, yeah, that would basically check out, because it's kind of what happens in Zambia games. They, I believe, lost a game 10-3 4 years ago to the Dutch in a game that was exactly that. The Dutch scored on basically every shot they took, but Banda scored 3, and so it was just a weird, crazy game of soccer. Yeah, again, Australia, dangerous but not scary. Germany, though, yeah, their pre-tournament results, again, with the caveat that pre-tournament friendlies are meaningless. Their pre-tournament friendlies, unlike the U.S.'s, which have kind of just been meh, have been flat-out bad. We should also note a couple heavy hitters not here, because it's only a 12-team tournament. There is no Netherlands. There is no Sweden, the eternal bogey team of the USWNT. There is no England, who would have played as the UK at this tournament. That's really the big one. England not in the field, despite being like the best team in the world before Spain took that mantle from them. Speaking of Spain, Lesley, they've got to be the favorites. Maybe the French as the hosts as well are in there. The U.S. is certainly in there. What's kind of your expectations of this tournament? Is anybody going to beat Spain? They have been a little off lately as well. And how optimistic, I guess, are we allowed to be about the U.S., given that their last couple major tournaments have not gone well?
Well, the great thing about the Olympic tournament is that it has an insanely high chaos coefficient where anything is possible. I mean, Canada won the gold
by not
medal.
playing any soccer. They got to penalties and then won on penalties.
Not a single open play goal in the knockout rounds, and they got the gold medal. And it shows that there's really anything is up for grabs. You can't rest on reputation or your laurels as it goes. Spain is trying to be the first team to win the gold medal after winning the World Cup, and they're talented. They have some of the best players in the world right now, and all signs seem to point to them winning the gold medal and being that first team, because they've just been this dominant team in the last 4 years. And, it's the Olympics. France might come in out of nowhere and just drop kick them through a table because they're the home team and they get that home crowd boost. So I'm going to say Spain wins.
Renard in his beautiful linen shirts on the side.
His open buttons.
3 buttons open, maybe more open shirts. The one thing that's weird about Spain is they won that World Cup despite the fact that no one was happy to be there at all. Everyone was mad for various reasons, between the scandal and the players who boycotted and the players who were mad at players for boycotting, but they figured it out somehow. And it's now like they have too many good players because like everybody's back in the pool, everybody's back on site. It's like, oh, well, we kind of figured out how to play with who we had, and now you just gave us 5 or 6 more world-class players, and we don't know where to put them. So it's a weird time for Spain, and to paraphrase Emma Hayes, well, the U.S. got to beat the effing Spanish eventually, right? So, we will have to see. Let's take a quick look at the USWNT Olympics schedule. They start on Thursday against Zambia. That game is at 2 p.m. They then play on Sunday again at 2 p.m., and they finish out the group against Australia on Wednesday, the 31st. That is at noon. These are all in Central Time for the benefit of our local listeners. All games, this is true for both the men's and women's football tournaments. All of the U.S. games are going to be televised on USA Network. And just like the entire Olympics, every event is being streamed on Peacock. Lesley, we just talked about the Olympics, so before we get out of here, I got to press you. What's the USA going to do with this tournament? Are they medaling? Is it gold? What color is it? How do you see this playing out for Emma Hayes and co? And I suppose more pertinently for Mal and Alyssa and co.
Yeah, I think that a medal is absolutely within the realm of possibility. Like, if they manage to get a bronze with that performance under Vlatko Andonovski, like I don't see why they can't at least repeat with that. But I'm going to set my hopes high. I'm going to say they make the gold medal game, and my heart wants to say they beat the Spanish, but my brain and knowledge of the last 3 years tells me that Spain will win. But prove me wrong.
I think I'm kind of in the same place. I think silver feels like the right answer because, again, it's just like you don't want to bet against the Spanish. But the Olympics are weird. No one's ever done the repeat of World Cup Olympics in back-to-back years, as you mentioned. So if history is to continue in that way, who knows? Maybe Mal Swanson's going to go out, keep this Golazo streak going, win the Golden Boot, become like the face of Team USA for the Olympics, win a gold medal, and be hailed as a national hero upon her return to Chicago. Who knows? Anything is possible. Yes, we would absolutely take that because it will give us lots to talk about when we next convene the CHGO Red Stars podcast. That is going to do it, though, for this edition. Lesley Ryder of Gal Pal Sports, thank you again so much for coming on the show. Always great to chat.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you to Joey behind the scenes for going above and beyond and all you're doing back there, Joe. As always, much appreciated. I am Alex Campbell. This has been the CHGO Red Stars podcast, and I'll talk to you next time.